After uploading the video of our Half Dome hike a few months ago, we received a couple of messages asking us about the hike before we reached the tricky cable route. Hopefully this video will answer some of those questions. We arrived in Yosemite the night before the big hike, and before checking into our hotel we decided to take a look at the parking area, as we knew we'd be starting in the dark and didn't want to waste time finding it. The food storage containers were a bit of a surprise. We didn't have any food in our car, so we didn't need to use them. We then went and checked into our hotel and got everything ready for our early start the next morning. We were staying at the Yosemite Lodge Hotel, which is the nearest hotel to the park, and we had to book this many months in advance to get a room. We took a chance and booked a room even before we got the permits. Yeah, that's another thing. You need to be organised and apply for permits well in advance. Apart from the water, this is all the food I took with me. I didn't eat all the bars, but took them just in case. The gloves are essential for the cables. We got up at 3 AM and we were out by 4 with a 30-minute drive to the parking. The ranger station was closed, so we had to show our park passes on the way out later on. It's not very obvious in this clip, but this is the sky and you can see the stars. There was no light pollution and it was pitch dark. We were walking by 4:50. It was quite tricky to find our way in the dark with just our torches. All the while I was thinking whether there were bears prowling around in the car park. You'll soon come to Happy Isles, and it's the last place you'll find flush toilets for the whole of the walk. Some serious toilet paper. For the first part of the hike we followed the mist trail. More stark reminders about bear encounters, and reminders about taking enough water. This is a serious hike. This route involves climbing hundreds of steps, and it was at this point we were glad we'd concentrated on the Stairmaster in the gym. We could hear the waterfalls, we just couldn't see them. Hopefully we'll get to see them later. By the time we got to the top of Vernal Falls, it was starting to get light and we could put our head torches away. As I said previously, the last flushing toilets were at Happy Isles. En route, there was a couple of pit toilets or composting toilets in outhouses. Once in Yosemite Valley, it seemed noticeably colder. We have a Garmin temperature monitor. This was showing below 0 centigrade. A bit later, it went down to minus 1.3. This was the bit we found hard to plan for, what to wear. We were keen to reach the cables before midday, as we'd read that leaving it later would result in queuing, and we wanted to avoid this if at all possible. So we paced ourselves and stopped only occasionally just to refill our bottles from the larger 2-litre bottles that Mark was carrying. We reached a point on the walk where a few hikers were sitting, and we soon learnt that we only had about a mile left before the cables, and that we should rehydrate well, as this section was going to be pretty tough. These steps mark the start of the subdome, and from here on you need to have a permit. There were many steep switchbacks in exposed 30-degree heat in full sun. We had to pause every turn to get our breath back and have a drink. There was no need to worry about holding anyone up, as everyone had the same idea. This section was tough and is almost as steep as the cable section of Half Dome. We were glad to get to the top of the subdome. was now 10:30 and we've made really good progress to reach the cables well before midday. We made our way to the start of the cables and put on our grippy gloves. I was starting to get very nervous at this point and wondered if I was doing the right thing. Then I remembered that Mark had said that if I made it to the top of the cables he'd buy me a souvenir t-shirt and a patch from Half Dome Village, so this spurred me on a bit.
No, just take your time.
I'm just waiting for you guys to take your time. Just go up.
Where's the briefing? Yeah.